Guys, let's talk about quotas. Okay, let's go ahead. So before the video, we talk about spike arrest, which solves a different technical problem, protecting the backend from excessive traffic spikes. Okay, and how many requests should be allowed in a specific time? Okay, and each time a request is handled by a quota policies of the counter is checked to see whether the maximum number of requests has been received. Okay, if the quota limit has not been reached, the quota counter is incremented. If the quota has been reached, the quota policy is gonna rise a fault to reject. There's gonna rise a fault to reject the request. Requests will be rejected until the time period elapsed or and the counter is set to zero. Okay. For example, if a quota allowed 1,000 requests per month, it would be legal to allow 1,000 requests during the first minute of the month. The quota and spike arrest policies solve two different problems, and it's good with them to work together. Okay. Unlike the spike arrest policy, the quota policy uses a counter. There you go. The quota policy keeps track of the number of matching requests received at a given time period. The quota policy count is typically shared among all the message processed with the counter values shared in the runtime data store. Okay. A quota is scoped to a single proxy and policy. Counters cannot be shared between policies or proxies, which is a security combination of policy proxy identifier uniquely specifies a quota counter. If no identifier is specified, all traffic through the policy, even the proxy, is counted. The quota policy, like the spike arrest policy, returns a 429, which means too many requests. Okay. The number of allowed requests per period specified using three configuration elements. Allow is the number of allowed requests. Time units is used like minute, hour, week, day, month, or every interval is the time units in the period. So allow is 10, interval is 1, time unit is y'all. It's say 10 requests per every hour. Simple. 10, 1, and time unit hour. Okay, simple as that. Each of these elements can be configured to use the reference to a variable, a hard-coded value, or both. If the reference exists and the variable has a value, that value is used. If there is no configured reference, or if the value has a value of no, the hard-coded value is used. The allow, interval, and time unit variables are often configured use the API product quota settings. When an API key or auth token is verified, the value of quota settings of the API product are automatically populated into variables. These variables can be used in the quota policy to specify a quota for the application associated with the product. The API product quota settings may be used to create different levels of services for applications. For example, an API product named Basic might allow 100 requests per month, and an API product named Premium might allow 10 requests per day. In the quota policy shown here, variables populated by the verify API key policy named VKA verify key are used to set the quota values. The use quota configuration API product element is an alternative method using API product code settings without needing to specify each of very long variable names. The step name attribute specifies the policy that determines the API product for the calling application. The policy can be verify API key policy or auth policy using verify access token operation. The default config element specify the default values used if the quota values are not set in the API product configured for the application. A quota is specified with the type. So there's many types of it. Starts with when it resets, it's a calendar. Okay. Well, let's say there are four different types of quota. When a type is not specified, the quota period starts at the beginning of the next GMT minute hour of day or the month, depending on the time unit you set. the request sets internal of the time units for sure. For example, if the quota is 100 requests per day, the quota would set at midnight. The calendar has an explicit start time, so there's a start time on that, which is different from the next one. I'm gonna say the flexi. Like the quota type calendar quota is reset every time an internal number of time units elapses. The flexi types is like the calendar type, except the time begins when the first request handled by the quota policy. So there's the rolling window. It's different. So it's requests are counted over the time period ending at the time of the request, or accepted or rejected based on the role. So, for example, the quota check-in a request 10 o'clock. It will do 100 requests. So it's not going to allow it if you do a request at right now at 10 o'clock.